Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. Chapter 1, where Alice takes a trip down a rabbit hole, enters Wonderland, and soon finds herself taking part in an unusual race and a rather strange tea party. She also comes upon Mr. Humpty Dumpty, who presents to her a poem about a creature called the Jabberwocky. I would love to chat with you further, but I'm in a bit of a hurry, for I am very late. But more on that later.
Patricia,
Yes, Alice?
do you think that a flower despises one for picking it?
I don't imagine so.
Do you think it feels a great deal of pain when being pulled from the ground?
Of course not.
Why do you think like that?
Why do you think of asking such silly questions?
Whatever do you mean?
It is very silly to ask if a flower has feelings or can feel discomfort.
I don't think it's silly. I just think it makes me curious.
Well, as they say, curiosity killed the cat.
But I'm not a cat, so I have nothing to worry about, right?
Alice, I'm trying to read.
And I'm trying to converse.
And I'm trying to ignore you.
I'll make it easier for you to do so.
Alice, it's nothing against you. I just enjoy reading, and it is relaxing to me.
Well, that's fine, Patricia, but while those leather-bound words pass by your eyes, the rest of the world passes by you as well.
Since you choose not to read, my dear Alice, why don't you take a walk and experience the world?
I will do exactly that.
And Alice,
Yes?
when you come back, I will let you know how it all turned out.
I shall do the same. I'll let you know how my adventure turned out. I'm sure I'll have the most interesting story out of the two of us.
We shall see, Alice, we shall see.
What a lovely wood this is. Simply divine. Why, I can even look back through the trees and see my sister Patricia reading by the riverbank. But it's as if I'm in an entirely different world altogether. Which way to start my adventure?
Oh dear, I'm late for a very important date.
My, there's something you don't see every day.
And what might that be?
A white rabbit, wearing a waistcoat, checking a pocket watch.
Well, you need to get out and about more often, my dear.
I was just telling my sister that.
Sister, where is she?
Oh, she's over there. Shall I go get her?
Oh no, please don't. I have no time for sisters, no time at all.
Very well then.
I had a sister once.
Once? What happened to her?
She was a little too slow.
Slow?
Let's just say that instead of eating carrots, she ended up being served with carrots.
My, that isn't a very happy story.
Well, stories can't always be happy. It's not a big tea party after all.
Why can't it be?
Not enough milk and sugar in the world, my dear. It was quite lovely chatting with you, but I'm in a bit of a rush because...
You're late.
How did you know?
I couldn't help but to overhear.
I see. You know, it isn't very polite to eavesdrop.
Well, I couldn't help but to overhear because you were carrying on so loudly.
And it isn't very polite to keep speaking to someone when it's quite evident that they are running late.
Wait, where are you off to?
I have no idea, but I can tell you this. I am running.
Late.
Exactly.
I guess every adventure begins with the first step.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Is that an echo?
Wait for me to catch up.
Perhaps my shadow.
There you are.
Oh, just that girl.
I have to ask, what date are we late for?
We?
You and I and you, the two of us, we.
Listen. When I run late alone. Good day.
Wait, please don't go. Oh, what to do now? All the way down a rabbit hole, not knowing which way is up, which way is down, where the beginning begins and the end has its end. Why, at this time, I even miss Patricia and her silly books. What shall I do when there's nothing left to do? Cry.
Stop that crying.
I can't. I'm dreadfully upset. I can't seem to stop my tears from falling.
Stop the weeping, please stop, or the most terrible thing will occur.
And whatever shall that be?
Do you know how to swim?
I have to say, I am a rather good swimmer.
That is good, because you will soon have to put that particular ability to use. Good day!
Oh my, oh dear, what happened? I seem to find myself swimming in a big pool of water. Whatever shall I do?
Try the Australian crab crawl.
I will not, for I am not Australian, not even a crab for that matter.
Then how about the Brazilian backstroke?
Once again, I must decline your suggestion. I'm English, not Brazilian.
English, you say? Care for a cup of tea then?
Most certainly do not. It is not the proper time for tea, and I see you have no biscuits to serve anyway.
Considering our state who would care for biscuits, extremely soggy biscuits they would be, I might add.
Yes, I do feel pretty soggy as well, but might I say, having this conversation with you is most peculiar.
And I have never encountered a talking girl before.
That's silly. All girls talk.
That may be the case, but I choose to ignore them.
You are silly.
And you all wet.
I have to say, I do look like a drowned rat.
Watch your phrasing.
Sorry.
You know, we wouldn't be in this fine mess if it weren't all for you.
Whatever does that mean?
We are swimming in your tears. You cried so much that we now find ourselves splashing in the sea of your sadness.
That is impossible.
Did you not just spend a great deal of time weeping?
Yes.
Do we not find ourselves splashing about?
Yes.
I rest my case.
Well, it doesn't matter how it happened, but how do we get out?
Dog paddle, of course. Follow me.
Well, I much prefer to call it a cat paddle, as it reminds me of my dear cat Dinah.
Please don't mention cats.
Sorry. We must!
We mustn't.
We must!
We mustn't.
Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
I say, what is all the ruckus about?
We are trying to decide on how best to ease our dampness.
You know, we wouldn't be having this conversation at all if it weren't for this girl.
You don't sis.
I certainly didn't mean to. I just started crying and
Soon we were floating.
getting our feathers extremely wet.
And our fur exceedingly damp.
I certainly didn't mean to. This never happens when I cry at home. Well, you aren't at home now, are you?
You are merely a visitor.
A visitor who wants desperately to get back home. Oh, I see. Where we live isn't good enough for you? I didn't mean that.
First she floods us with her tears, and now she insults where we live?
I didn't mean that.
Don't let this other door their way of all debate.
The debate! Of course! Yes!
No.
Yes!
No.
Excuse me, do you have a spare towel that I might dry off with?
A towel?
We have no towels.
And since we have no towels, there is only one way to ease our damp discomfort.
No.
Oh yes, indeedy we must. On your mark, get set, go!
I will leave the beach for this.
Whatever are you doing?
Trying to dry off, of course.
Don't just stand there.
I most certainly will. This is most peculiar way of drying off.
Don't argue. Run.
Oh my.
I am catching a breeze.
I went to this my bath.
Faster, faster!
Oh my.
Feel the wind.
I just will win it.
Halt! The race is officially over.
Race? I thought you were just trying to dry off.
I thought I was here wanting to this up.
It was a race to dry off, and I won.
I put you up in this house.
You won.
Can't run in the race and judge it too.
I think that rather unfair.
Do you now?
Why do you wear all this on?
Me?
Fantastic idea.
I totally agree.
I prefer not to get involved.
My dear, you already are.
You must see who is the driest. We need to know who won.
You are still a tad damp. You a bit wet.
I told you, I shall win the stash for dryness for sure.
I have to say, you are still rather wet.
There is no clear winner. We must race again.
No!
Yes.
Over here I thought this is he used to win it, or perhaps once it's he used to show it. Or maybe once it's he used to only way here with his sword.
There is
No. On your mark, get set, go.
I'm late. Late for a very
Important date.
exactly.
Wait for me. Hurry, hurry.
faster.
Faster.
Hold!
Halt.
Halt.
I am the only one who can yell halt. The race isn't over.
You're right, it's only number damage.
Whatever are you doing?
Make the need to hit the more fail. On your mark, the set, go. On the one to the board says to hit your dance.
No room.
No room. No room for you.
Well, that certainly isn't very polite.
You don't have to be polite. It's our little tea party after all. It's our little dream after all.
Why, there's plenty of room.
Where did that chair come from?
Where did she come from?
Riddle you this. What do a girl and a chair have in common?
Oh, fantastic. A game. I love riddles. Let's see.
You can't guess.
Just give me some time to think.
Time to move. One place over one place. Over.
Well, that certainly was rather abrupt. This is much unlike other tea parties I've been to. Most of the other ones are very peaceful and quiet.
Riddle you this. What does peace and quiet and pieces of cake have in common?
Now let's see. Wrong! Wrong?
Wrong. Very wrong indeed.
How can I be wrong? I didn't even give you an answer. If you give me the opportunity, I believe that I can guess.
If you can think of an answer, then you should say it.
I do. I mean what I say. It's the same thing, you know?
No, not the same thing at all. You might as well say I see what I eat the same thing as I eat what I see. You might as well say that I like what I get is the same as I get what I like. You might as well say I breathe while I sleep is the same as I sleep while I breathe. Which in your case, Dormouse.
That is the truth. Well, you might as well say that I dislike this tea party very much as this tea party I dislike very much.
I think it's time for me to leave.
Time to move. One place over.
Why, this is a most unusual gathering. There's not even any tea.
Well, of course not, silly gal. Tea at a tea party? How embarrassing. Tea. I like tea. Riddle you this. How is this tea party like the middle of a donut? Donuts. I like donuts.
Well, since you refuse to give me enough time, I refuse to answer.
Refuse to answer? Well, that isn't very sporting of you.
Well, I don't find your games very pleasant.
If you don't enjoy a game, sing our song. A song would be lovely. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder what you're at. Up above the world you fly, like a tea tray in the sky. Tea, I like tea. Twinkle, twinkle, little bat. Twinkle, 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 twinkle. Time to move. One place over. Say, you must move over.
I rather like this chair.
Yes. want my chair.
Have a story instead.
There once was 3 sisters who lived at the bottom of a well.
And what did they eat?
They ate molasses every day.
Well, they couldn't have done that, you know. They would be very ill.
Please be quiet.
You're interfering with the dormouse's creative process. You see, they lived on molasses because the well was a molasses well.
Makes sense to me. Me as well.
One day, these 3 sisters were drawing a picture.
What were they drawing in their picture?
Molasses, of course.
Wait, this story is utterly ridiculous.
I think it is time for me to leave.
The critics died. I get to sit.
If you ask me, I don't really think
Then you shouldn't talk much.
that this is a proper gathering at all. Why, this is the most maddening tea party that I've ever attended. I think I shall even find a more suitable environment.
Oh, and by the way, a girl and a chair have this in common. They both have legs. Peace and quiet and pieces of cake are alike because you can never have too much of them. And this tea party and the center of a donut are the same because, why, there's nothing to them.
How did she ever guess?
Oh dear, look at the time.
Time.
Oh, Mr. Rabbit, please, Mr. Rabbit. Well, come back. Why must he always be in such a great hurry? Mr. Rabbit!
What's all the hullabaloo?
Pardon me, but did you see a white rabbit running by here?
Maybe I did and maybe I didn't. What I do know for a fact is that I was rudely interrupted from my afternoon nap by a shrill voice shouting, "Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Rabbit!" You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
I'm terribly sorry to have disturbed you. It's just that
I know. You're chasing the rabbit to see where he goes. Well, I can tell you exactly where he's going. He's going to the trial. Now, as long as you disturb me, the least you can do is recite.
What are you talking about?
A poem, child.
But I want to know more about the white rabbit.
Yes, I know, but you'll get no information from me until I get a load back, so recite.
All right. The walrus and the carpenter. The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might.
No. I've heard that one already. Get another one.
Well, I can't think of another one just now.
Well, I guess I will have to recite one myself. Sit. The Jabberwock. 'Twas brillig in the slithy toves, did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrave.
What nonsense. I like the walrus and the carpenter much better. The sun was shining on the sea.
Stop. You only like it because you understand it. So tell me, what about the Jabberwocky do you find so difficult to discern?
Well, what are slithy groves and what is brillig and how do they gyre and gimble? What is a borogrove?
Stop. That's too many questions to answer at one time. I believe the only way you'll be able to figure it out is with the help of some visual aid.
Just like in school.
Not at all like school. I'm an egg, not a fish. Now turn your attention over there and keep quiet.
She doesn't know what a sliding toad is? Most people think it's a board, but it's actually the sort of lizard with a corkscrew forehead. That's not true. I'm a bird, same as you. You'd never be a bull, just a silly-looking lizard with a corkscrew forehead.
But I want to be a bird, then I could fly from such undesirable company as you.
Oh, the poor creature. Maybe I can help.
Not possible. Sit.
Look, it's a funny-looking lizard.
Do you think we should find out what's the matter?
I can tell you what's the matter. What? She wants to be a bull, but that can never be.
How sad. It's almost as sad as life for us mole rats here in Wonderland.
Yes, we've traveled so far from home.
And there's just no telling when we can get back to our own rooms and our own beds for a good night's rest.
If you want, you can come and sit with me and cry. I don't really know if it helps me feel any better, but at least I'm doing something. Yes, what a good idea.
I believe I'll join as well.
I don't think I can take the noise. No more.
This will never do. Everybody stop screaming and stop crying. It can't be as bad as all that.
But don't you see, I've always wanted to be a bird, and I won't be anything more
Then a funny-looking lizard with a corkscrew for a head.
Well, I'm not a bird and you don't see me crying.
That's true.
And besides, I bet that birds with only mop tops to offer can't do any of the things you can do.
What do you mean?
Well, I'll bet they can't open a bottle of spiced cider, for it takes a corkscrew to do that.
I never thought of that.
And as for you, Mumras, is there really any reason to be crying at all?
But we're so far from home.
Yes, but here in Wonderland, I'm sure you're learning all about new places and things you've never even dreamed of before.
It is sort of an adventure, isn't it? One to tell our grandchildren about.
So you see, there really isn't any reason to be crying at all.
Thank you.
It's so true. You're very kind of pointed out to us.
What's the matter with you?
I have good qualities too.
Stop! You've interrupted the visual aids. You've changed everything. Now there's no telling what will happen next. I've just one thing to say to you. Beware the Jub bird.
No need to be afraid of me. I've only come to warn you. If you are here at 3:30, the Jabberwocky will scorn you.
Just what I was afraid of. If the Jub bird is here, the Jabberwocky can't be too far behind. Run! Run for your lives!
This is all such nonsense.
Nonsense it may be, but the time is 3:30. In a moment we must flee. Oh, brave boy who sits on the tum-tum tree, come save us from the Jabberwocky. Have you seen the Jabberwocky come this way?
I don't know what a Jabberwocky is, so I don't know if I've seen one or not.
3:30, it's 3:30. The time is drawing near. Young lady, please stand by that wall. Have no fear, for I will muster all the bravery from my toes to my tousled hair, and save you from this awful beast. And as for you, Miss Jub, I'll need your help to distract the horrifying giant when he arrives. Whatever you say, I'm happy to serve you today. Here's the Jabberwocky as we speak. The time has come. Go! Look there, look anywhere! I've come for the boy. Fly on, bird. Ah! You don't have to ask me twice! There are no distractions now. It's just you and me this time, brave boy. My plan didn't work. I've never slain the Jabberwocky without the help of the Jub bird. Whatever am I to do? The time has come for you to meet your doom. Please don't eat me. I'm really quite small, and I taste of Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are my favorite.
This is all such nonsense. Excuse me, do you know the way to Saskatchewan?
What did you say? Now's my chance. Foiled again. When will I ever learn?
Oh, Frab Stay, Kahula Kalay, I'll always be the bravest boy in Wonderland.
Well, that was rather exciting.
Did you really like it? We have our voices every hour at various stages in Wonderland. For ticket information, call our toll-free number at 555-Jabberwocky. Come on, Sam, let's have lunch before the next show. All right. I'm in the mood for some mock turtle soup.
I think I understand the poem now.
Not at all the poem I wanted to hear. Perhaps you should be on trial for ruining my recitation.
Yes, the trial. That's where the White Rabbit was going. Now, if you'll kindly point me in the right direction.
You have to climb over the wall.
And where do I go when I get to the other side?
I haven't the slightest idea. Only please go quickly. I'm not sure to my nap.
Thank you.
Chapter 2, where Alice takes a trip through the garden, conversing with the flowers, a butterfly and a bee. She also meets the Cheshire Cat, caterpillar, Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Do you mind bending your stem slightly away from the sun? What are you talking about? Your large petals are blocking my light. My petals aren't that big. I just have long, glorious stems.
Don't even begin making those comparisons.
Since if you want to talk about low to the ground, then try drawing Clover style like me.
But Clover, you really don't need as much sun as the rest of us.
I know,
It's
Violet.
all right.
I'm just trying to prevent another disaster from happening again.
Good idea, Clover. Remember what happened last time to poor Susan? Hee hee, black-eyed Susan. Hee hee. Let's don't talk of it.
Why can't we talk of it? It wasn't even my fault. I was just bending over to take a rest when pow! Right in the old stamen.
Yeah, and if you don't watch out, I'll knock you so hard, we'll fall right out of this flower bed.
Oh, impatient, you're so.
Impatient?
Yes!
You're all quite finished. May we return to the topic at hand? You're blocking my light. But how can she be? Can you see I'm in the shade here?
Well, yes, there's nothing to do with the sun. There seems to be some unidentified object hovering over your head.
Why did I have to be planted so close to the wall? Yes, you are a little bit in there by the brick, aren't you? Yes. Yes? We have one word of advice for you. What's that?
Duck!
Too late, I'm afraid. Well, there's not much one can do while firmly rooted.
I think that flying object bruised my petals.
Oh goodness, that was quite a fall. I suppose if Humpty Dumpty really had taken that spill, it's unlikely he would have survived. I dare say my own noggin is a bit bruised by the fall.
You're not gonna bruise. What about me?
Who said that?
Over here.
Ah, the flowers. I suppose I should be used to the extraordinary by now. So you all talk, is that it?
Yes, we do.
I'm Violet. Could you tell us your name, please?
Yes, I'd like to know who I'm addressing as well.
My name is Alice.
Alice? I've never heard of an Alice before. Strange name for a flower.
But I'm not a flower.
No, you're a nuisance. Jumping on for defenseless. You weren't defenseless when you attacked me the other day. Why yada? Where are your manners? Well, yes, we have guests.
Hey, uninvited guest. I don't know what an Alice is, but I have a suspicion that you're nothing more than a common weed.
But I'm a girl.
A girl? I never heard of a girl before. I think it's just a fancy name for a weed.
I am a girl. I'll prove it to you.
Fair enough. Go right ahead.
Well, you see...
Go on. I'm waiting.
Well, you see, there is no real way to prove to you that I'm a girl. It's just something you should take my word for.
What did I tell you? A common weed?
Indeed, always trying to win you over, but with full of hot air and growing out of control.
I rather like her.
Me too, especially her long wavy petals.
I tend to agree with the others, not just a weed, a noxious weed.
Those wavy petals are supposed to live right next to you and take over. I agree with Susan. Really? Well, yes, we have to stick together.
How will I ever convince you? I really am a girl.
Hi, little girl. Did you say girl? Why, yes. But how did you know that? Common knowledge.
It's not common to us.
I forgot. Your flowers don't get out. I do. But how do you know it's a girl? There are two ways to naming. You have a girl on your hands. The girl, one towards you, or the girl, one for you. What are you, little dear?
I don't know. I just know I'm tired of all this nonsense and I want to go home.
There grown-up girls coming this way. Hurt them want lead you. You want to go.
What do you mean?
The red and white train coming this way. They might bust away now. Maybe your flowers stay till news.
I'm going as fast as I can.
Well, it's not fast enough.
Please, could you help me?
Can I help if my train keeps getting caught in all the briars?
There are no briars in Wonderland.
But there are.
My sister, the Queen of Hearts, would never allow for such a thing, especially if it meant that we would all be late for...
A very important date.
What did you say?
I said a very important date.
What do you know about it?
About what?
About our very important date.
Well, you see, I've been traveling through this Wonderland, as you call it, chasing after a white rabbit.
That's my Stanley.
What?
Stanley. The white rabbit's name is Stanley.
Oh, I see. Well, I've been chasing after him because, as you can imagine, seeing a white rabbit in a waistcoat, checking a pocket watch is rather unusual.
Not unusual in the slightest.
Well, Stanley does usually wear a top hat as well. One rarely sees a white rabbit with a waistcoat with a pocket watch unless he's also wearing his top hat as well.
Will you be quiet and let this child finish his story? Otherwise, we'll never make it to the palace.
You're going to a palace?
Yes, my sister's palace, for the annual croquet match.
Fought by the trial.
Usually, although last year the White Queen ruled the whole event.
That's not true.
What would you call cheating to win a croquet match and then conceding the minute you sent to trial?
I did not cheat. I would never cheat. You're the one who cheated.
What?
I said you're the one who cheated.
That's what I thought you said. Off with your head.
You can't say that. Only the Queen of Hearts has the power to do that.
This is all very confusing.
On the contrary, it is all quite sensible.
Then could you please explain it to me so that I understand?
There's no time for such nonsense.
But Red, couldn't we just take a moment?
You take all the time you want. I, for one, will not be late for the biggest event of the year.
My head is swimming.
How odd. Another river in sight.
What I mean is, could you tell me more about the croquet match?
Well, what happened was this.
Ah!
Stanley, what's the matter?
A bee! A bee!
What are you talking about?
I was running as fast as I could as not to be late,
For a very important date?
so I took a shortcut through the marigolds and,
And let me guess, you were stung by a bee.
not stung, just nearly stung. And to prevent bodily injury, I ran away kicking and screeching.
Is that so?
Yes, that's so. And the funny thing is, I could have sworn I heard it say, I thought you were a rabbit, not a little girl.
Stanley, you've come just in time. Perhaps if we travel together, then we won't be late after all. Do you think you might like to come along, young lady? We could always use another player. Besides, it might take a bit of the pressure off me, you see.
I suppose I could. After all, I have been chasing after the white rabbit for what feels like forever now. May as well see where this adventure takes me next. Lead me on your way.
Oh, that will never do. All ways are the ways of the Queen of Hearts.
He's right, you know, and you'll be much better off if you remember that bit of advice.
Is there anything else I should know?
Well, you might want to tidy up a bit.
I'm sorry. It's just been such a long day without any rest. But may I ask, Your Majesty, don't you think you might want to tidy up a bit too?
Whatever do you mean?
Well, your train is dragging, and as for your crown,
Yes?
it's a bit crooked.
Don't let's start talking about appearances, shall we?
But
It's alright, dear. I've looked this way for so long, everyone has come to expect it.
Get ready, Your Majesty, for we are very, very late.
no wonder she's so untidy. But wait! I don't know which way to go. I'll never get used to this. Oh, how I wish I were back home with Patricia, sitting under a sturdy oak, listening to her read to me.
Who are you?
My, you startled me.
Who are you?
Well, you see, I don't know at the present. At least I knew who I was when I got up this morning, but it seems so much has happened that I've changed several times since then.
What do you mean by that? Explain yourself.
I can't explain myself, sir, for you see, I'm not myself.
I don't see.
Well, I'm afraid I can't put it more clearly, for I don't understand it to begin with. All the changes I've gone through today are very confusing.
No, they're not.
Well, perhaps not to you, sir, but someday you'll understand. When you turn into a chrysalis and then into a butterfly, I should think you'd feel rather strange too.
I have no intention of turning into a chrysalis, let alone a butterfly.
But you have to. That's just nature.
I am too wise to be caught in the pressures of nature, and the way things are meant to be, I intend to live as I please.
Uncle Joe, is that you?
Of course it is. Who else would it be?
Who are you talking to?
I haven't the slightest idea. Who are you?
I haven't the slightest idea either.
There, dear. You'll be alright. All you have to do is take a deep breath, dry your eyes.
Oh, what a beautiful butterfly.
There, all things seem to be better here. The unknown girl is no longer crying, and I can see that you intend to keep going along your merry way.
First of all, my way is never merry. In fact, my way is not my way at all. It's the Queen's way. Finally, I would not be on my way at all if this unknown creature wanted you to follow me.
I'm not an unknown creature. My name is Alice, and I'm chasing after Stanley, the white rabbit.
Oh yes, I passed him on the way here. He is in quite the hurry.
He was taking the White Queen to the croquet match.
There's sure to be trouble. Maybe I can get there in time and be some sort of comfort there too.
You might want to check on the border row of the flowers. Black-eyed Susan is getting impatient.
Oh no, those two just never seem to get along, do they?
You might want to check on the rose bushes too. I saw the garden carts. They got out the red paint.
Oh no, they planted the wrong bulbs again, didn't they?
Indeed.
Then I shall have to hurry. My work is never done. I wish I could just sit and rest instead of flitting from here to there.
Now you know why I've never retreated to my chrysalis, my dear.
I should have listened to you, but now it's too late. Toodaloo!
It's that way.
Of course it is.
She'll never make any time.
Bye, sir.
Well, now I suppose it's time to brush myself off and begin again. I found the white rabbit. I know where he's going. Not to mention how much I would like a good game of croquet. Also, I'd really like to meet the Queen of Hearts. Who's that laughing?
Curiosity killed the cat.
Who said that? Please show yourself.
I'm right here.
It's not very polite to sneak up on a girl like that.
It's not very polite to sit on my front paws either.
What are you talking about?
Back there, where you were talking with the caterpillar.
But that's impossible.
Not at all.
But there was no one there when I sat down.
Just because you don't see a thing doesn't mean it's not there.
What nonsense. Before I lose my temper, I shall be on my way. Why are you laughing?
Haven't you heard? Always, of course.
I have heard that, but it really makes no sense. I'm sure I'm much too late to make it to the palace by now.
Are you invited to the croquet match?
Well, not officially, at least not by the Queen of Hearts. See, the White Queen asked me to go along. Unfortunately, she took off with Stanley before I knew which way to go. But perhaps you should tell me which way I ought to go.
That depends on a good deal on where you want it to go.
Right now, it doesn't matter where.
Then it doesn't matter which way you go.
So long as I get somewhere.
Oh, you're sure to do that. Just if you walk long enough. I have one piece of advice for you.
What's that?
Watch your step.
Whatever do you mean? I shall never get used to the comings and goings of Wonderland. Let's see. Since it doesn't matter which way I should go, although I would like to get it to the palace, That's odd. I don't believe these were here before.
If you think where waxworks,
You'd really ought to pay.
I'm sorry. It's just that
this reminds me of a joke. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Penny.
Penny who?
A penny saved is a penny earned.
Really? Knock-knock jokes at your age? I mean, it's not that amusing.
Well, what would you prefer, miss?
I like a good recitation. Do you know The Walrus and the Carpenter?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Mr. Walrus.
That's not exactly what I had in mind. I believe it begins like this. The sun was shining on the sea.
If you don't mind, I would like to hear the joke.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Mr. Walrus.
Mr. Walrus who?
You don't, Mr. Walrus, till the well runs dry.
Now that was a good one.
If you're quite finished, may I impose upon you to tell me which way to the palace?
That way.
But how can it be both ways?
It doesn't matter which way you go.
Since all
ways
ways
are
are
the Queen's ways.
I hadn't thought of it like that. Let's see, let me try this way.
Before you go,
Knock knock.
No, really, I have no time for this.
please answer. Knock,
Who's
knock.
there?
Frankfurter.
Frankfurter who?
Frankenfurter, lovely evening.
Well, you're welcome. I suppose we did have a lovely visit after all.
The visit's over?
Not yet. Go again.
Knock knock.
Knock knock.
Knock knock.
Knock knock.
Knock
Knock
knock.
knock.
No, really, I must get going. It's getting late and
Please answer.
After all, we're not waxworks.
Who's there?
Saul.
Saul who?
Saul there is.
There ain't no more.
Watch your step, I said. But did you take my advice?
You again.
I see you found what sort of people live here.
All I really want to do is go home.
You're a fickle thing, aren't you?
Whatever do you mean?
First you want to go to the palace, then you want to go home. What you do instead is stand around telling knock-knock jokes.
I never wanted to do that.
Then what is it that you want?
I want to go home.
Very well. It's that way. Pity, really. You're going home without even meeting the Queen of Hearts.
But don't you see? I seem not to
You
have the
don't
luck.
need luck. All you need is to know the shortcut through the wood.
No, I'm going home.
You go right through here and you'll be at the palace in an instant.
Well, I haven't come all this way just to go home.
Fickle, I knew it. May I give you some advice? Oops, too late. She's gone.
Chapter 3. Where Alice helps to paint the roses red, gets involved in a most peculiar croquet match, and is brought into trial on charges of well, I guess you'll have to wait and see.
March, 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 march.
I'm tired of marching.
I rather like it. It's good for the circulation.
Attention! Straight line, buckets out, brushes up, now paint. No, 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 the roses.
Oh! Why aren't you painting these?
I didn't get to be a high card for nothing.
Sometimes you're the low card.
Paint!
Why must you always take your aggression out on me?
Because you're the 10 of clubs.
I may be a club, but I don't like being clubbed.
Paint!
Pardon me, excuse the interruption, but could you tell me why you're painting those roses?
Well, miss, the fact is this ought to have been a red rose bush.
And we put in one by mistake. And if the queen found out,
Then we should all have our heads cut off. Now hurry!
Well, I suppose it couldn't hurt to help you out of it. It would be the neighborly thing to do.
What is it? Are you finished yet? No, we've only just begun.
We wouldn't be in this mess if it weren't for you.
yes, buying roses wholesale. Whoever heard of such a thing? You never know what you might get in return.
You should be thankful for our help.
Oh, I am. I can't begin to thank you. But you better hurry!
We're going as fast as we can.
But not fast enough! 'Cause the queen is coming! What are you doing?
Well, I was just...
Off with her head!
Don't you think you should let that answer your question first?
No, I do. And if you're not quick, I'll get gallon chop off your head too. No, dear. Let's not be too hasty. Cut off the little girl's head.
Yes, sir! No, I will not be treated in such a manner.
Curtsy. When you say that,
Yes, Your Majesty.
speak loudly.
Yes, Your Majesty!
That's better. What is your name?
I'm Alice.
What are you doing in our classes?
Oh, well, I don't quite know what to say.
If you don't know what to say, then you should speak off with her head.
I've remembered now, Your Majesty. I've come to play croquet.
How do you know about that?
Well, the White Queen told me. No, in fact, she invited me to play.
The White Queen, you say she spoke out too. You are now uninvited. Off with her head.
Yes, ma'am. You know, I wish you'd stop yelling off with her head. It's rather hurting my ears when you say so.
What?
And wouldn't you agree that it's much nicer to have a second person when you play croquet?
She makes a good point here. Besides, she can show you her worth in the croquet. Then you can decide to cut off her head later. Well, I suppose you're right. Rabbit?
Yes, Your Majesty?
Let the game begin!
Hear ye! All prepare for the annual croquet match. Attention members of the royal party. Announcing the competitors for the 4th annual Royal Croquet Tournament, the Queen Sister, the Gruff, the Grouchy, and generally unpleasant Red Queen.
I may be gruff and grouchy, but I'm not unpleasant.
Also a competitor in today's match, the King's Sister, the Queen's sister-in-law, the kind, the timid, and disheveled White Queen.
I'm so glad I made it in time. Thanks for the lift.
Shh. Next up in the competition is the ill-mannered, impertinent, and precocious young Alice.
Why, of all the things to say about a person.
Quiet!
And finally, the defending champion and sure winner of today's match, the lovely, the demure, the one and only Queen of Hearts.
What did Mr. Rabbit mean when he said the Queen of Hearts was a sure winner?
It means you better cheat to lose or you'll be sorry.
I'm sure I'd be sorry if I didn't play to the best of my ability.
If you don't lose the game, you're sure to lose something else, my dear.
Yes, I can arrange it so you can lose your head. After all, the Queen of Hearts is my sister.
I know, you've told me before.
Enough chit-chat. It's time to begin. Send in the hedgehogs.
We're ready, Your Majesty.
Can't wait to get started, Your Highness. We're waiting on here for this special day, ma'am.
Where's Hermione?
Who's Hermione?
The Queen's hedgehog.
Hurry up, Your Majesty.
You're late. Off with her head.
Please, ma'am. It won't happen again. It's just that my alarm didn't go off this morning. Traffic was terrible, and besides, I got this terrible headache.
No excuses. Off with her head.
But if you cut off my head, you won't be able to play the game.
You're right. Play first, execution after.
First up, Red Queen.
Alright, Harriet, you know what to do.
What?
Don't, under any circumstance, hit the winning stake.
I'll do my best. That was the first rook here. Now the second.
Now would be a good time to stop.
Whatever you say, Your Excellency. You cheated.
No, I didn't.
You coached your hedgehog to stop. It's not fair.
If you don't keep quiet, I'll have my sister cut off your head.
I'm sorry, I won't mention it again.
Next up in the competition, White Queen.
Let's see how you do.
Any instructions for me?
Just do your best, dear.
Whatever you say.
How was that?
That was the worst croquet shot I've ever seen. You cheated.
Not at all, dear. I'm just horribly inadequate when it comes to playing croquet.
Nice shot. I believe it's my turn now. Hermione!
Here, let me boost. I'm here.
Remember, I don't like to lose, so you better run fast and hit the final stake or it's off with your head.
Yes, Your Majesty. I'm going as fast as I can. I'm a sure bet to win for you, Your Majesty.
Keep going.
Actually, I'm a bit winded now. I'll be here for much longer. I must stop.
What did you stop for?
I'm sorry. It just means I'm not in as great a shape as I used to be.
Off with her head.
Please let me keep my head. After all, I've already made it closest to the stake, so you've already won.
Yes, that's right.
What about me?
Next up in the competition, young Alice.
I wouldn't try too hard if I were you.
Nonsense. Just do your best, young lady.
Thank you, I will. Are you ready?
Oh yes, I'm so excited. I've never played croquet before.
Just try as hard as you can. That's all I can ask.
Why, this is such fun and so simple. All I have to do is hit the stake.
And the winner of the 4th annual Royal Croquet Tournament, the Queen of Hearts.
What? No, she isn't. I won.
What did you say?
I said I won. There's just no denying it. I won fair and square.
Off with her head.
Excuse me, but couldn't we take her to trial cruise?
Oh, all right. Let the trial begin.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye, hear ye.
The case of Alice in Wonderland,
Wonderland,
accused of painting the roses red
painting the roses red,
and cheating at croquet.
cheating at croquet.
Off with her head.
No, dear, we can't have the verdict until we've heard all the evidence.
All right, get on with it.
First witness!
First witness, the Cheshire Cat.
I knew there would be a trial, and I knew that Alice would be at the heart of it all, Your Grace.
Then you know this girl?
Of course I do. I met her talking to the caterpillar. She was trading knock-knock jokes with that Tweedledum riffraff. That can't be good. But then I advised her to go home.
Not true, not true. You encouraged me to stay.
But when she refused, I showed her the way to the palace.
I demand to be heard. That cat's got it all wrong.
What cat?
Right there.
Time for the verdict. Off with her head.
Next witness.
Next witness, the Mad Hatter.
What's going on here? I was in the middle of having tea when I was summoned to this trial. What is the world coming to when one is interrupted for having a cup of tea?
Pay attention, we have questions to ask.
And I have answers to give, Your Majesty.
Answer the question promptly or it's off with your head. Do you know this little girl?
Oh, her? Of course. She came to tea with me. Very rude she was. Didn't drink any of my tea and then said all my riddles without saying a thank you or goodbye.
That's very important.
It has nothing to do with anything. And if you want to talk about rude, what about the way you treated me? There was no tea in that teapot. You were posing silly riddles, and you were jumping up and down as if you were mad.
I am mad. And speaking of riddles, why is the trial like a dull knife?
Neither has a point.
How did you get it? See what I mean? Perfectly good riddle. Gone to waste.
Next witness.
Next witness, the March Hare.
Hello, Hatman. Good to see you.
And likewise.
What are you doing here?
Some trial thingamajig. What can you tell me about the character of young Alice?
Who is Alice?
She is
A thief.
Not true.
It's very true, very true.
What did I steal?
For something for which I'll never forgive you for. A thing that holds me up so I can speak. She took it away from me.
What was it?
Oh, sorry, it's too emotional.
Speak up or it's off with your head.
She stole my chair. There is no place for me to sit at the tea table. I ask you this, what kind of lady would do such a thing?
Your tea party was utter nonsense, moving from chair to chair like that. If you had an ounce of intelligence, you would have chosen an empty seat.
I find you very disagreeable, young lady.
There you have it. A thief, a cheat, and extremely disagreeable. The time has come. Off with her.
Wait just 1 second. I think we have one more witness.
Final witness.
Final witness, the Dormouse.
Were you at the tea party with the Mad Hatter and the March Hare? Tea? I like tea. Answer the question. Question marks are squiggly lines that look like shooting stars. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle.
That was the most important piece of evidence we've had yet.
Now, if you don't mind, and even if you do, I shall be on my way.
Your way? Your way?
I think that was the wrong thing to say.
Always are my way.
I better hurry. Toodaloo.
Goodbye, young lady.
Nice meeting you.
Come back for a visit soon.
Guards? Guards? After that girl, you know what will happen.
Yes, Your Majesty, we know. Heads will roll. And I, for one, want to keep mine. March.
I think that's one of the best trials we've had in a very long time.
Time! 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 Time to move! One place over, one place over.
Alice, where did you go off to? There you are.
Run, Patricia, run!
I'm sorry, but I refuse to run. It just isn't done in the polite society. Well, unless there's special set at Lord's, but even then you walk briskly rather than run.
You'll never believe what just happened to me.
And you'll never believe what happened either. This was the most delicious of stories. Oh, in the end, the brave Sir Tristan defeated the evil knight and asked the king for permission to have his daughter's hand in marriage. And of course he said yes, because Sir Tristan was so brave and heroic. It goes without saying that Sir Tristan and the princess lived happily ever after. How romantic. Alice, what? Did you hear what I just said?
Oh, yeah. The knight defeated the princess. The king got married to Sir Tristan's hand.
Why do you mock me?
Mock? Turtle!
What?
Alice, pay attention. I'm trying to have a conversation. Okay, go on. I'm listening. I have told you the adventures in my book, and you said yours would be much more interesting than mine, so go on. Did anything of interest happen since we last parted? Well,